You're listening to Witch Wednesdays, your weekly podcast source for all things witchcraft in the modern world. Join your hosts, Steph and Tara, every Wednesday morning as they dive into a new witchy topic.
Welcome back to Witch Wednesdays. This is Steph.
And this is Tara.
And you're listening to episode 15, Top 10 Crystals.
Woohoo! Jewelry.
Yeah, so we already talked last week about general information about crystals. So this week we are diving into a top 10 list because it is a lot easier to talk about specific crystal uses when we are talking about specific crystals.
Yes.
So we pulled our list of what we thought was the top 10 that are the most common and most useful in the practice of witchcraft. And then we have a couple of others that work particularly well for us that probably would not make the top 10 list. And there are hundreds out there. Okay.
Yeah.
So just because we put it on our top 10 list doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be your top 10. That's the whole fun of crystals is going on and seeing what works for you. And don't be put off by just you go into a store and something catches your eye. Like that's great. Like if you just like think it's pretty, like it's going to work for you. It's calling to you.
And just because something's pretty doesn't mean it's not useful.
Exactly. So let's start with the two that we mentioned last week that are in and of themselves cleansing and charging crystals. So the first one is clear quartz, one of the most popular ones for beginners because it's
so useful.
So useful. So if you have a spell or ritual that you want to do that's calling for rose quartz and you don't have any, clear quartz is something that can be used in the place of any other crystal. So if there's something that you don't work with very often, you don't need to go out and buy that specific crystal. It can be used anything else in any other ritual. And there's a similar herb and there's a similar oil. So there's like a similar candle when we get to candle colors, that it's sort of this general stand-in. So if you don't have something specific, you can use this stand-in to be whatever you want it to be. And that's what clear quartz is. So that's why it's probably the best one to get as a beginner. And in and of itself, if you're using it for its own properties, it's further amplifies your intention of whatever you want. And it has a ability to counteract negative energy blockages. So if you're ever feeling like stuck or kind of down on your witchcraft practice, which happens a lot,
yeah,
is this something that you do in and out? It's sort of like it comes in waves. Like you might want to practice some aspect of your witchcraft practice every single day for 2 months and then not pick it up again for 2 months.
Ding, 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 this is me.
It kind of comes and goes. And sometimes that's because your energy is blocked negatively, and clear quartz is a good way to kind of counteract that and rebalance yourself if you want to get back into things.
And again, because it's so versatile, it's a lot of wands have this in them, either at the tip to direct energy or embedded throughout the wand. My first wand had it. It's pretty and it's so easy to work with.
Yes, very forgiving.
Yes, very forgiving to the beginner and the experienced witch. So
yes. So in general, it is good for clarity, healing, cleansing, symbolizes purity, promotes awareness, stimulates your brain and immune system, enhances relaxation, and then obviously supports other crystals.
Yes.
So the next one that we have on the list is selenite, which we talked about selenite also last week as a powerful cleansing stone. And it can be used to cleanse and charge other crystals because it ensures a positive flow of vibrations between you and all of the other crystals in your collection. Mm-hmm. So this is another good one for beginners. It quickly removes all negative energy from the body especially if you move it up and down your body, starting from the top of your head to your feet, it's a very good way to like cleanse yourself.
Yes.
So that's it's another one that's very forgiving, very easy to work with, very good for beginners. And I guess if you have a clear quartz, it's not necessarily completely necessary to also have selenite, but I mean, I have them both because
I do not have them both. I have clear quartz.
it's like, I think this is like one place where I'm like a total hoarder. Like mostly I'm a minimalist, but then when it comes to crystals, I'm like, I need all of them.
She says she's a hoarder. She has like one box of crystals. I'm just gonna throw it.
It's true, yeah.
She's not a hoarder.
That's my version of hoarding.
Yes, there you go.
I was like 10. No, I probably have more than 10, but
You have more than 10, but you don't have a room dedicated to crystals in your house yet.
Not yet. So the next one on the list is rose quartz, which is also has a lot of different uses. It's generally called the love stone.
Yep.
Just because of its pink color. And it's not just like romantic love, but it's also self-love, relationships with your family or friends, or promoting like harmony between coworkers.
I was gonna say it's about compassion and empathy.
Yes, exactly. And it's good for healing yourself, and it also allows clarity of judgment for viewing other people.
Yes.
Which I think is a really good thing, especially if you are dating or finding new friends. It's a good way, you know, at the very beginning, you don't always have the best judgment.
Yeah.
So it's a good way to provide clarity. It does help attract romantic love. And it's also good for forgiveness and self-esteem. And it is the one that balances the heart chakra.
Yes.
The next one on the list that I have is Amethyst, which we talked about last week as being super popular in home decor.
Yes. The purple spiky one.
Yes. Yeah. You've probably seen Amethyst around because that like it comes in like a variety of purple colors, but it's always very striking.
Yes.
So it is really good, like pretty home decor, but it also provides spiritual protection. So that is why it's used so often in home decor because protection. It also has calming energies and invites abundance into your life.
So that's why so many people put it in their home, in the entryway, or even in the kitchen. It's not generally something you find in their bedrooms.
Yeah. It's also used for balance, self-confidence, peace, because it can control anxiety or sadness. It enhances intuition, so it's used a lot in meditation because it encourages like tranquility, stability. It also calms the mind, so it helps headaches and hangovers.
Woo!
So, we like that.
We like being hangover free.
Yes. In terms of chakras, it's the third eye healing chakra, so it's the one that's on the forehead. If you have seen that across the body. Which, makes sense then for third eye and helping headaches. The next one on the list is citrine, which I think is also a relatively common and popular one. I think this is like kind of the cutoff. Like I was really certain about what the top 5 were. And then when I was like thinking like, well, what rounds out the top 10 list, kind of took some liberties there. But citrine generally like makes the list. This is called the money or merchant stone. So this is if you're looking to bring money or for your business or into your life, for abundance, this is the great stone for that. If you own a store, you want to keep it in the cash register. If you get a small one, you want to carry it in your wallet or purse or pocket. And this one is one that doesn't really need clearing as much as the others.
It's a very dense.
Yes.
It doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we always like charging it and moonlight and things, but it doesn't need to have its energy cleared as much as some of the other stones.
This one is also something that I would not have put it on the top 10 originally. It is very popular, but it's not one that people recognize right away when they see it. So like clear quartz, a lot of people are like, oh, that's quartz. Like they know what that is. Rose quartz, you know. Citrine is a kind of a strange color usually, and people don't recognize it right off the bat.
Yeah, it's generally like a yellowy, orangish.
Yeah, color. Yellowy, sometimes with like little green specks or orange specks. It's, yeah.
Natural citrine, so for it to actually be called citrine, can be kind of rare.
Yeah.
So a lot of what you find in stores is actually baked amethyst to like make it change its color, but it is whatever you want it to be. So if you don't know that it's baked amethyst, then it's going to work for you the same way that citrine does. So I'm not super concerned. So citrine also, because of its like sunny color, instills a really positive outlook and stimulates the mind. So it's good if you're trying to promote optimism in your life.
There you go. Everyone needs more of that.
I agree. Okay, so moving down the list, these aren't in any particular order, unlike those first 5. So the next one that I have on the list is turquoise.
I love turquoise. I have so much turquoise jewelry passed down from my grandmother, and it's very useful. Sorry.
Yes, turquoise is very popular, especially in Native American culture, obviously.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's beautiful, but it's also good for soul searching. It helps you find honesty within yourself and get really clear on what changes you need to make in your life. And it's also a good stone for good fortune and abundance, just like citrine is.
I find it very helpful to find balance with turquoise, and I'm a Libra, so balance is really important to me. So I really recommend this stone.
I know you're such a Libra.
Yep, I'm such a Libra.
I say that all the time, and we are going to have an episode that like talks a little bit more about astrology and how your sun signs affect you and things. But yeah,
no, I'm such a Libra.
Yeah, balance is a big one for you. The next one that I put on the list is tiger eye. Tiger's eye is a really popular one. I mean, I think it's pretty common.
It is, yeah.
And I think it is very popular because it's a grounding and protection stone. Mm-hmm. So if you generally have a lot of anxiety, this is a very good one to carry around with you. It gives you confidence and courage. So I think that's why, I mean, I feel like I have tiger's eye somewhere in my collection. I'm pretty sure there's one around, but I don't think that I use it that often. But I know that other people love it as a protection stone and for getting rid of anxieties.
When I was first starting, I had one, and I used it a lot when I was trying to work on my grounding, because I mentioned I was not good at that off the bat in any way, shape, or form. And I found it very helpful working on my grounding, centering, focus. And it helps build your confidence, because once you get good at it, then you're like, ta-da, I'm amazing.
Yes, that's exactly how it works. The next one on the list is hematite, which I personally really like. I feel like I like it because of the color, but if you've ever seen them, they're like these like grayish black stones.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember, like, if anyone out there remembers, magnetic bracelets used to be very popular?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yes, those are hematite.
Oh
Those
yeah,
grayish black.
they are.
Yeah, and those magnetic bracelets, and people used to wear them as like, just as like balance.
Yep.
Hematite is good for pain and clearing negative energy. So that's why those bracelets were so popular, because they really do work.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what they are used for. They like ground and balance. They're used for de-stressing, clearing negative feelings. It's another one that treats anxiety. And it's good for memory, counteracting confusion, and increases mental organization. So it's like all things that I like.
So this is your rock that you're
So I really like this one. But yeah, it's pretty. It's like this like grayish black shiny stone. I don't really like it.
Yeah.
I would say that was like one that I was probably drawn to just from seeing it in the store.
Yeah.
And not necessarily like going in there like looking for any one in particular, but just being like drawn to like, it's pretty. It's like a dark gray mirror. I like it.
I also like it, but Steph likes it more.
Yes. The next on the list, I have them together. So technically this is a list of 11, sue me. I know. These two together, black tourmaline and smoky quartz. I put them together because they do similar things. And I think if you have one or the other, that you probably wouldn't need both, if that makes sense. Like, I mean, we said the same thing about clear quartz and selenite, but I still feel like those are like a little bit different, or maybe just because I have both. But I do feel like these two, the black tourmaline and the smoky quartz, are very like similar to each other, that like maybe you necessarily wouldn't need to have both of them if you had one or the other. So the smoky quartz is like it's like coffee colored. So it's clear quartz, but then it has kind of like browns running through it. So it reminds me of coffee.
I can see that. Yeah. Not coffee that you drink, but coffee that I drink.
Yeah. So
I use cream, she does not.
Probably like drawn to it. And then black tourmaline is black. But they are both very good for detoxifying. Mm-hmm. And I mean, really detoxing of any source. So also good for hangovers, for detoxifying yourself. It's also good, like, if you want to put it in water to like detox your water, things like that. But it's also good to detox other people in your home. So if you have like an energy vampire in your life, like you're at your work or something, like you just like have an interaction with somebody and you're just like, Jesus, I feel tired just after hanging out with you. They are an energy vampire, and having smoky quartz or black tourmaline around to deal with them is incredibly helpful.
Also, if they're in your personal life and not your professional, maybe think about not spending time with them. But
yeah, that too. But if you can't get away from them, this is a great.
If you can't get away from them, then yes.
Yeah, this is a great one to have. And they both also are piezoelectric, which we talked about in last week's episode. So they both black tourmaline and smoky quartz have like very strong energy fields, magnetic fields. And black tourmaline specifically has it's very good at transmuting energy. So if like something in your life has this particularly negative feel to it, then black tourmaline is excellent for bringing that energy back to neutral.
Yes.
So a lot of people like to use that on their desks and by their laptops, because there's just a lot of negative energy, both in like the content that you read on the internet, but just like from like the power of the laptop in general. can
Mhm.
feel like very negative, or like too much negative energy coming. So a lot of people keep black tourmaline next to their laptops or on their desks at work.
I kept some by my door of my office for a long time.
I think that's a smart idea. I like that.
Well, I work in an environment where energy vampires are a real thing. So, and so do you.
Yeah, I know. We are all about trying to get rid of those things in your life. Like, we feel like you don't always have to resort to witchcraft as the answer. It might just be easier to remove those things from your life than try to deal with them through crystals or other forms of witchcraft, but sometimes it's completely unavoidable.
Yeah.
And work is often one of those situations.
That's usually why I'm like, personally, you have some more options, but professionally, no.
Yeah. So the last one on the top 10 list is Carnelian.
This is technically number 11.
Yes, it's technically number 11, but I had to sneak it in there. And in general, I wanted to sneak a red stone on here. Red stones in general are good for anyone who needs a boost of energy and courage. They're good for protection, and they're also good for like a feeling of joy and happiness. But I feel like red isn't that common for some reason.
It is not.
There are other ones. There's like garnet is another one, and that's got similar properties, but I feel like carnelian is much better for energy and courage. And we've talked about a lot of the other ones on the list as sort of being grounding and balancing and like, dispelling negative energy, but sometimes you need a boost of energy and you need a boost of courage. That's what this one is for. So it's a lot different than the other ones that I had on the list.
Yeah. And the one thing that all of these have in common is that these are some of the easiest crystals to work with. There's not a lot. Some crystals are harder to work with, both individual stones and the type, but these generally are quite easy to work with and easy to find a good match with. And so there's that.
Yes, definitely agreed. So those are all the ones that I put on the top 10, technically top 11 list. Tara, do you want to add any that are your particular favorites that did not make this list?
So I actually do. I'm not a huge crystal person, so I will not have nearly as many as Steph, who is a huge crystal person. But I really like fluorite. This is a very pretty green purple mineral. You've probably seen it and not known what it was. It's not great in jewelry. I know a lot of the times I'm like, put your minerals in jewelry. It's great. But this is it melts very easily and can get damaged very easily. So it's usually not put into jewelry very often. I have a polished heartstone of it that I actually got in a subscription box, and it's amazing. I really, really like it. But fluorite is good for, let me just read you a little description of what it's good for. And you're going to be like, oh my gosh, if you know me, this is why. Fluorite crystals cleanse your mind, body, and spirit. They're protective stones, protecting you from outside influences and drawing off negative energy. It can give you the strength to release your pent-up emotions. It'll help you express your grief, anger, fear, or even love, and pave the way to more honest communication. So this is like my stone.
Fluorite makes my list as well, specifically rainbow fluorite, because it's pretty.
It's so pretty.
But fluorite is also great for decision making and clarifying decisions, which is something Tara sucks at.
Yes. Oh my gosh. If you give me 5 decisions, I will come up with 10 answers. Like give me choices, and suddenly there's way more options than you thought there were.
That is completely accurate. So this is like, yeah, that's seriously a great one for her.
It's really, the other ones that I use most often all made the top 10/11 list, so I didn't want to list them out again, but that one didn't make the list, and I really like it. I have an affinity for it, and I think it's very helpful. Not making decisions for me, but once I make a decision, sticking with it.
Well, I have some other ones to add.
Yes, I knew you would.
I do. So rainbow fluorite also makes my list. Another one that makes my list, just like a quick one, is sunstone. It's called the happy stone.
I do like that one.
And I really like that. So it's good for a pick-me-up. It's good energy stone for when you're feeling tired or have no motivation.
Yeah.
So that's just like another little random one that I really like. One that particularly, I think the rest of these on the list all particularly work for me because there are stones that work better with your astrological sun sign.
Yes.
So there are stones that particularly work well for Scorpios, which is what I am. I think all the ones that all the last 4 that I'm going to mention on my list are all Scorpio stones.
Of course they are.
Of course they are.
They're such a Scorpio.
So the first one on my list is labradorite, which is really pretty. That's another one that's got like a bunch of different colors on it. It's usually like bluish green and like purpley, rainbowy. It's nice.
It's nice.
It's nice. It guards against negative energy and helps you connect with your spirit guides. It promotes calmness, creativity, and a clear mind. So for me personally, that's good in my witchcraft practice because I'm good at centering and grounding, but I do feel like, especially like certain times of the day, it can be kind of hard to clear my mind and focus. So this is a very good stone for that. Another one that is on my list is snowflake obsidian.
Of course that.
I love snow. It's a Scorpio stone. It's like a dark gray color that has like white specks on it.
Yeah, that's your stone. That is completely your stone.
Yeah, it is mine. And it's good for Scorpios because we tend to hold on to things.
What?
Yes. I know. I have had the same arch nemesis since 4th grade. Okay.
This is a real story, guys.
I hold forever. So snowflake obsidian has detoxifying elements that are good for rituals of release. So
Nice.
If I need to, something's like bothering me, but it's not necessarily something I can or should fix, and I just need to let it go, and I need to like let go of like the feelings of this to, write that down and do a sort of ritual in my practice to release that, to get rid of it, stop thinking about it. Snowflake obsidian is very good for that. So that's a particularly good Scorpio stone. I refuse to give up my arch nemesis, though. He's still out there. I believe he went to prison.
That'll teach him.
Another one that I love is pyrite. I already talked about on the top 10 list of hematite being on the top 10 list, and me liking it because it's like a dark gray mirror. This is the gold version of that. So pyrite, you've probably seen, it's called fool's gold.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Most people know it as fool's gold. But yeah, it's like that shiny gold color. And I love that one. I'm particularly drawn to that one, just of like how it looks, these shiny, pretty stones. They'll get me every time.
It's because they're pretty, but they're also useful.
Yes. So pyrite does exactly what you think it would. It attracts opportunity, prosperity, and abundance. So I love all 3 of those things. So very good in workings related to bringing abundance in your career, just bringing money into your life, like things like that. So particularly enjoy that one. And the last one on my list is onyx, which is jet black.
I have that one. I also like that one.
Yes, it's also a good Scorpio stone, but it is particularly good for meditation.
Yep.
And it's absorbs negative energy and actually turns that into lucky energy. So not only does it get rid of it, but it actually turns it into something useful and powerful for you. Mm-hmm. And since onyx is at the complete opposite end of clear quartz, it is jet black, whereas clear quartz is obviously clear. It is very good to use in your space to promote harmony, because it's that complete balance of black and white when you use it with the clear quartz. So you'll find that a lot too. I bet Amanda does that probably in her home someplace.
Yes, she does.
Balancing that black and white and bringing harmony to your space.
Yep.
Those are all of the ones that are on my top 10 list. And my additional 5 that I added there. I would say that the clear quartz is definitely the most useful in my practice. And I feel like it's going to be that way for most people.
It's just so versatile.
Yes, it's just so versatile. But I would say if I had to pick just like one off of the list after that I think that I like work with most or use the most, it would probably be pyrite, because that is what I do most in my practice, is attracting abundance.
That makes sense.
Especially like in the house. Just like attracting prosperity, attracting abundance. I like, all of those things. And the next one on the list would probably be the onyx, just turning negative energy into lucky energy and having it around the house to balance with the clear quartz and just make it like a harmonious space, because that's important for a hearth witch.
Yeah. Well, I would say my top 3 are the clear quartz, because again, it's just so useful. The fluorite and probably amethyst.
Interesting.
Right?
Well, please let us know if there's anything on this list that we missed that it's particularly your favorite stone to work with out there. You can call in and leave us a voicemail. If you listen to the end, it'll explain how to do that, or leave us a comment on Instagram. And if we did mention your favorite on here, let us know which one it is and if you agree with any of our particular top 3s.
Yes.
And that is all we have for you this week. We will see you next week for episode 16.
Excellent. Goodbye. Follow us on Insta.
The podcast you just listened to was made using Anchor. Anchor is free. It's both a website and an app, and it's the easiest way to make a podcast. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can even make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Thanks for listening to Witch Wednesdays with Steph and Tara. Love our content? Consider donating at anchor.fm/witch-wednesdays to help keep our podcast up and running. Please leave us a voicemail on that same site if you have any questions or comments, and follow us on Instagram at Witch Wednesdays Podcast.